Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Friends and Music Podcast. I'm
Woo!
welcoming. Whoa, easy, calm down. If you couldn't tell, I have Marc back. Welcome back, Marc.
What's up? I'm back.
Um,
It's part numero dos.
I thought about what else I can say about you as far as an introduction that wasn't covered last episode. And I think maybe I was being like a little too nice. You're really mean. You're really grumpy. Always just bring everybody down around you. Just kidding. No, you're a very positive person. If I didn't say it enough last time, you're a really good friend. You're a good supporter. And you're also very, very hardworking, which this episode, this time around, we're going to talk more about what you're currently doing with work. But, I said it before about Cheshire, like how much work you put in behind the scenes, but you're one of the most hardworking guys that I know.
Thank you. I appreciate them.
Yeah, and with that being said, it's a natural segue into I need to know what your Taco Bell go-to order is.
Yes. Well, the funny thing is that I never had Taco Bell until I moved to LA. Dead ass.
So the whole time in Utah, you never there's one
I had
like
a
5
Del
minutes
Taco.
from your house.
Yeah. No, I mean I had a Del Taco one time, but I grew up with the kind of mentality. I mean, I was always told that like, oh, don't go to Taco Bell, dude. Like, that's garbage food. And if you want real Mexican food, you can just go get tacos from here and here, right? And then I realized later on is that you don't go to Taco Bell for Mexican food. You go to Taco Bell for Taco Bell.
Amen, brother.
And when I went to LA, there are vices there that are not available in Utah, nor they are legal. So you get into a headspace and it just incentivizes fast food and junk food even more.
Bad.
So one night after consuming an edible, I was like, I turned to my roommate Matt, who he is a Taco Bell fiend. But every time he would go to Taco Bell, I would like make fun of him for it. I would be like, dude, what are you doing? Why are you getting Taco Bell? If you want Taco Bell, if you want like tacos, we should go to this. He's like, yeah, but do they have my cheesy gordita crunch or my crunch wrap supreme? I'm like, no. He's like, then I don't want it. I'm like, oh, okay, fine, whatever, bro. But we're watching a movie, and then I turn to him, and I'm just like, Matt, I want to try Taco Bell. And he's just like, oh, you do? And I'm like, yeah. So we get Taco Bell. We walk over. And I didn't know what to get. So I just got the same order that he got. And it has been my go-to ever since. Cheesy Gordita Crunch and a Crunch Wrap Supreme.
I love having a podcast, ask people whatever I want, especially when they ask me a question, and I'm just like, I'm not going to answer that. I'm gonna make you answer it when it's recorded. It's like the like get out of jail free card when I'm talking with people beforehand. I'm like, oh yeah, let's just save that podcast.
I did just realize you kind of reverse Uno'd me on that, and that was my original question to you. I was like, oh, that's how we got here. Shoot.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll save that for later. The next thing that we need to talk about is all the instruments that you play. We talked about guitar. So I want to know how you got to get into guitar, how you got into recording, how you like why you had microphones when we were in Cheshire. Like let's hear that journey of instruments, music all together.
Yeah. Well, as I told you before, my dad and the rest of his family is very musically inclined. So as I'm growing up, my dad is like trying to get me to sing and play piano as early as possible and just trying to get me exposed to all this stuff. And the more he tried, the more I was trying to fight it and be like, I don't want to sing. I don't want to play. Like, I wouldn't always be like opposing of it. It's just whenever I was like doing something else, and then my dad would want me to do that, or if you're just being a kid and a parent tells you to do something, then you are more likely to be like, no, I want to do the opposite of what you're telling me to do. But I took piano lessons for about a year or two when I was like 7 years old, 8 years old. My dad would try to get me to go to voice lessons, and I did them. But then after a while, I would be like, I don't want to do voice lessons anymore. After a while, I was like, I don't want to do piano lessons anymore. But then I learned like I would pick up a guitar. I didn't know how to use it. So I stayed away from it. I think like in 5th grade, orchestra's going on, and there's a really cute girl who was a violinist. So I was like, I need to learn how to play cello. I don't want to deal with the violin or the viola, but I didn't want to deal with the bass because that's too big. So I was like, I'll sit down and I'll play cello. I played cello, or I was like trying to learn cello for this orchestra for like 6 months. Quit after that. I was like, this is too hard. I don't want to. The bowing thing, I was like, this is too much. Then 7th grade arrives, and I'm into more music at this point. Like I've Green Day and a bunch of other like pop punk bands are on my iPod Nano, but I'm still not like playing guitar, but I'm definitely like singing those songs in my head, even though I never want to sing for other people. I played trumpet for like my 7th grade band for a semester, and I was enjoying that. But then I really wanted to learn how to play saxophone. But in order to do saxophone, you had to play clarinet for a year before getting on the saxophone. And I was like, man, that's lame. I'll just do trumpet instead. Then we moved to Peru because economy crashed, and my dad was a real estate agent. And so this was our solution out. Moved to Peru, and I'm still kind of like musically inclined and everything. I've like dabbled in guitar. I still have my teachings with the piano, and like I've played enough instruments where like I kind of understand music concepts and grasp pretty basically. And I was really getting into like 80s rock and roll, or rock music in general. And the friends I meet in Peru are also into rock bands, and they want to make a band, and they wanted to cover mostly stuff like Black Sabbath, Guns N' Roses, AC/DC, that kind of stuff. And I was like, oh my God, that sounds so cool. And I was like, wait, I don't play anything. And I was like trying to see if like maybe I could be a singer, but I wasn't like the most confident in showing them that I could sing. And there's another kid who was like, I'm a much better singer than you, just pipe down. He was not a better singer than me. We were both bad, but like, this guy was much more confident and asserted dominance. So then I couldn't get in the band. So like, man, how do I get in this band? And I was like, I need to learn how to play guitar. So I go to my dad one night. I'm like, Papa, I need an electric guitar. I want to get one. I want to learn it. And no hesitation, he's like, let's go right now. In Peru, they don't have guitar centers, or at least I don't remember them having guitar centers at this point, but they had a Yamaha music store. So everything in there is all Yamaha. And so the very first guitar I got is a Yamaha Pacifica, and it is basically a Strat copy, but it has a humbucker in the bridge and 2 single coils in the middle in the neck position. And I loved that thing. I still have it with me. I can pull it up. It's somewhere downstairs. But I was like learning how to play that thing, and I was like trying to force myself, like, how do I learn guitar? And I took a couple of guitar lessons with the teacher there. I didn't like the teacher. And I felt like I was going way too slow. I was like, no, I need to learn how to start playing songs so I could be in this band and play with all my friends. I can't go over this basic theory crap. Like, I don't care about that. Don't give me the scales. Give me ways how I can play Sweet Child of Mine right now. Tell me how I can play this right now. And so I stopped going to the lessons, and fast forward, I did not end up getting into the first band that my friends were putting together. So they were doing their own band, but then two other friends who were putting together a second band, and they were like, yeah, we couldn't get in that band, but we know we're better than the people that were essentially being replaced by. You should join our band. We should compete with them. So we were a 3-piece, and the other band was like a 6-piece, because one of the people in that band who was trying to put the band together had a very difficult time of saying no to people. So originally the band was going to be like 9 people, where there's like 3 guitarists, 3 people all trying to sing, a bassist, a drummer, and then like someone else was playing some other random instrument because he didn't want to say no to them. And at some point, people were like, this needs to stop, dude. Like, we need to thin this out. We cannot have 3 freaking vocalists for this. Just get one. And you have to go with the dude, because even if you have a crush on this girl who's also trying to sing, she sucks. Just get her out. I was like, wow, yeah, this is brutal, So I was still friends with the majority of them in that band, but I realized that was not a place I needed to be in drama-wise as a 7th grader. So me and my friends Colin and Will, who are the drummer and the bassist respectively. Originally, I was going to play bass and Will was going to play guitar. But then we realized we were better swapped around if I was playing, because I had yet to learn bass at this point and I was still new on guitar. I was like, just give me guitar. Let me play guitar instead. And through that time, we play together. We're called the Nobodies. And every talent show, every school show we play at, we were the much cleaner and more put together band than the other one, because we played simpler songs. We played Twist and Shout by the Beatles. We played All the Small Things by Blink-182. And the other band was trying to play things like Sweet Child of Mine and Pour Some Sugar on Me. And I was just like, those songs are way more complex. Like,
were these like the held back kids? Like, were these 50-year-old men trying to start a band in middle school?
No, but
where came from?
Yeah, the funny thing is that in Peru, a lot of the music from the 80s back then was like super popular. It just transcended. So all the Peruvian kids just grew up listening to that, and they were super into it. And it's not like the 2 kids I was with didn't like 80s music, but they were much more modern music inclined too. Although Beatles is definitely an oldie, but we tried to play some Red Hot Chili Peppers in there too, and some Nirvana. So we, some 90s stuff in there, some 2000s. But that was like my first 2 years of learning guitar and playing guitar. It was just this need to be in this band. When I moved back to the States a year after, I continued learning guitar and I continued trying to study guitar, because now I finally got over the hump of, man, my fingers freaking hurt every time I press onto the strings. I no longer have to deal with that problem, and I built up the calluses. So I'm practicing for longer hours. I'm learning more difficult songs. I'm trying to push myself. I finally go back and start looking at theory and understanding what scales and chords do and how chord shapes can be moved around the fretboard, and you can actually like learn songs by understanding what key they're in and then just figuring out the scale and the chords and blah, 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 blah. I go into my first year of high school when I moved back to the States and I wasn't living in Peru anymore, I was really bummed out because we were going to form this new band for high school in Peru. That was going to be a couple of friends that I was really close with from the first band, and then one friend from that second band. And we were going to be like a super group. And I was really optimistic. I was like, wow, we could actually be really, really, really good. But it never happened because I moved back to the States. High school, I didn't know how to make friends. And I was like, well, I play guitar, but marching band doesn't really allow for that. But the marching band director was like, well, if you play guitar, can you play bass? And I'm like, I mean, maybe I can learn it. He's like, well, we don't have a tuba player, and we haven't had a tuba player in 3 years. And I don't think we're getting a tuba player anytime soon. So we need something for the low end of these shows. So we have a bass amp here. If you can get a bass, go play bass. So then that's why I started picking up bass and learning bass for the next 2 years in that marching band. And then I go to another school and I get into jazz band. And because I get into jazz band and because I have bass experience, I learn how to play the string bass, the upright bass. So I play upright bass in jazz band. I play upright bass in orchestra again. I play guitar in this jazz band once we get a dedicated bass player. And the only other instrument experience I had was briefly drumline for like one winter. Because I did like percussion in a band class, and then that was enough to then get on drumline for the winter season, and I would just play bass 4 because I was a big dude and I could handle bass 4. Boom, 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 boom. But I really wanted to do like snare or tenors because those were always like the super cool ones in marching band. Just get the, but I could never get the traditional grip down right so that I could do really fast snare stuff. But I feel like between today, this is 2025. I learned guitar in Peru, so it was 2008. It's like what? Almost 15, 17 years of experience of like playing stringed instruments. I feel confident that any other stringed instrument I could look at, I could play around and then figure it out on like a fundamental level within a month. Like if I wanted to learn violin or viola or even go back to cello, if you give me like a month, I'm not going to be like a fantastic player at it, but I feel like if I just practiced every day for a whole month, I could be like kind of competent and feel competent enough to be like, I can record some simple parts on this instrument. But guitar and bass are my primary instruments for sure.
Well, I guess what I should have asked is like, what instruments do you not play? Because maybe that would have been easier for you. Like a much faster. But to go off of what I said earlier and what you were just saying is, I was saying you're a really hard worker, and I think maybe something I left out is what you're saying is you're very determined. So if there's something you want to figure out, you definitely figure it out. Like when it was recording music, you definitely took the time to figure it out. And I don't think there's anything you can't do because you have the determination. If you want to do it, you're going to do it. And also, you left all of us just hanging. You talked about, I think you said there was a cute girl playing violin, so you wanted to get in and play. What happened, man?
Well, it didn't work out. And, I got into the orchestra thinking, okay, I'm going to talk to her and see if I can woo her with my cello abilities. But I was so frustrated with the cello that I was like, man, this isn't worth it. I think it was 5th grade. Like,
what girl's worth all this? Come on.
My fingers are burning up from the strings. This sucks, bro. Like, no. I mean, throughout school, there was like so many crushes that I had. there's only like there's a couple that I distinctly remember. And then there's finally a few where like, oh, okay, actually something happened between us. But that's not related to music, and therefore
You don't have
it
to
does
answer.
not.
This isn't the
Yeah.
relationship podcast. This is Friends and Music. So we're talking about music. But I mean, you talked about, trying to get close to your crush because of an instrument. So yeah, it's the same topic. What else have you done to try to get your crush's interest?
Well, I remember one girl I thought I was cute. Okay,
Here we go.
you get to get some drama. Or you get to have some drama here,
Yeah.
Blair. High school, Raafaa, in the marching band. There was a girl in the color guard. You know what the color guard is, right?
That's a prison for people that can't see specific colors.
Nope. So in marching band, you have the band, and then you have a roster of people who like are with the band with visual displays. So they're like either twirling flags or they're using props. They're acting out or choreographing or playing out a choreography with the music and the show. So they're like auxiliary parts of the band, but they're just as important for like the final show. And like fully fleshed out marching bands will have like full rosters of both. So this girl named Sam, very cute, was in the color guard, and she was with my one of my new friends. Remember, this is my first year in high school back in the States. I'm living in Farmville, North Carolina, and I'm trying to make sure I'm not stepping on anybody's toes. First month in, I finally get on the marching band. I'm playing bass. We go to our first competition, and I notice that Sam is being a little more friendly around me. I'm like, oh, cool. This is neat. I have no idea that she's dating Ronnie at this time. I know who Ronnie is because Ronnie is my friend, not in marching band, but he wasn't there at the competition. So she then, we're like hanging out, we're acting close. And then she tells me at one point, I just want to let you know that like I am seeing someone, but I don't think it's working out. So if you want me to, I can cut things off and we can try something. I was just like, yo, like 14-year-old Raafaa or Marc is like just thinking, what is happening right now? This like cute person wants to like stop seeing someone just for me? Yo, that's so I'm like, yeah, you can do it. I'm just kind of sheepishly like, yeah. She's like, okay. And so then she pulls out her phone, she texts something, closes it,
Done.
and then we make out. And then 10 minutes later, my friends Trevor and John, who are also friends with Ronnie, they're like, Marc, don't tell me you did it. And I'm like, what? And they're like, did you break up Ronnie and Sam? I'm like, wait, that's who Sam is dating? And they're like, no, Marc. I'm like, oh no. And then we get back first day of school on Monday. Ronnie just like finds me in the hallway, stares me in the face, and he's just like, and he walks away. And I'm like, oh no, what have I done? What have I done? And that relationship with me and Sam does not last long because I'm like, oh, I don't want to be a part of this if it's going to be drama. And then she moved. So then things were all right again. But for some reason, Blair, I went on a string where there were more people or more girls that were also named Sam, that were somehow either involved in marching band or in my high school, that started asking me out or like becoming involved with me. And I was just like, what is going on? Am I a Samantha magnet? Is like, it just am like 3 people I ended up dating were all named Sam. It was just wild. And each one did not last long, but it was just, it was so bizarre. Thankfully, the second Sam was very clean, no like prior drama. The only thing that was kind of awkward about it was that she was my who's the person in marching band where they are like the conductor, but they're not like the band director because they're not the adult staff. They're like a student assigned with.
Not the conductor? What are we saying?
Marching band leader. That's a student. What is that called? Drum major.
The drum major.
Yeah. So she was my drum major, and she just bluntly asked me out. And I was just like, I never like thought of her that way, like being romantically like attractive to me. But because she asked me out, I was like, oh, well, that's nice. Sure, why not? You know, just to see if it, you know, if it would work. It didn't work, but it was okay. We didn't end on bad terms. You know, we just went out for a week and we were just like, okay, it's not, there's no like spark here. But then the third Sam was another like Ronnie situation where she told me that, but she didn't tell me she was seeing someone, which is why I get the pass. You know, the first one I was like, oh, you're breaking up with someone just to get with me? Cool.
You don't get
the third one. I thought she was.
Experience. All Sams have to break up with somebody in order to date. You know. Don't act like you didn't.
Yeah.
But go on, Scott Pilgrim. Tell us more about it.
The third Sam doesn't tell me that she's already seeing someone or in a relationship with someone, and then we just start. I mean, I guess we're going out at that point, but we never really went on dates. We just not hook up, but like we just find each other at the school and we kiss or make out and just hang out together. Then I find out that she was already seeing someone at school, someone I didn't know. I'm like, I knew of him, but I didn't know him personally. And he is like a solid 6 inches taller than me, and he is 50 pounds bigger than me. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. What have I done? Thankfully, that dude was a big teddy bear and very sweet. But I felt bad because he also was just like super sad. And I just saw him super sad all the time. I was like, damn, like, what am I doing?
Such a heartbreaker.
I know. I'm like causing shit for other people. And then I get dropped. I get dropped this crazy bomb. This third Sam tells me I have a kid. And I'm like, what? You're 15. How do you have a kid? And she's like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And just, and that for me, I was like, oh, bro, I'm 15. What am I, what am I supposed to do? So, I got out of that real quick. And yeah, that was the string of Sams that, I dated in my first 2 years of high school. And
Daddy at 15. This went from like, I thought like maybe you could make like a MTV, teen TV show about Marc and the Samantha Heartbreakers. But then it went from that to Jerry Springer real fast.
Yeah. No, I dodged scenarios there. And I pretty much did not date for the rest of my high school life.
Because you ran out of Samanthas. But let the record show, any Samantha listening right now, Mark is available. He's interested. His number is 801-420-6969. Call
He's
Mark.
doxing
That's not
me. Oh my god. If you are hopeful, that is not my real number, but I just want to kill the hope right there, then and there.
We live
So
in a
you're not
world
wasting your
of
time.
social media where he is easy to find.
Yep, you can always if you are actually trying to slide.
Tell us, where are they? Where can you be found?
At Raafaa Casts, RAAFAACASTS, every social platform that you can think of, except OnlyFans.
You just have to pay for that, but he's there.
Yep, Donut Wall for sure.
So Raafaa, where does that come from?
Raafaa was the name I always wanted if I could have like chosen my name, like Raphael.
Mm-hmm.
At some point I thought to myself, wasn't really embracing my Peruvian heritage enough, and Marc is a name that doesn't really sound Latino. Marcos sounds more like Latino, or I don't know, Greek Marcos. But I was like, man, sometimes I wish my name was a little different. And I know my dad and mom like came up with that name strategically, but I was like, man, if I could change my name, I would have Raphael, because like Raphael, you already know that that name is like Spanish as fuck. Like, it's got this like super suave, almost like I don't know if it's like a romantic Latino style to it, or like this warrior kind of style to it. I don't know. And I remember playing D&D one night with some friends, and they asked me like, okay, you got to come up with the name for your character. And I was just like, I'm going to do Raphael. And the nickname for that was Raafaa. And I was like, oh, well, I picked Raphael off of this tennis player, Rafael Nadal, and they would give him the nickname just Rafa. And I was like, oh, that sounds like a cool nickname. So I just went with Rafa. And then that became my main name going into the gaming space and the esports space. Because I just needed like a stage name at that point.
Well, go ahead. That was a great, natural, good flow segue to Marc. You introduced us to your music background, your family, the band we played in. We've talked about all that. What are you currently doing with your life? I left Utah, music faded away, and something else faded in. Tell us about that.
So around the time that Blair was starting to leave, I have been into video games all my life. And one of the things I was getting really into was the world of esports, which is competitive video games. Now, esports is in a different spot now than where it was when it first blew up, but esports back in 2017 was like the biggest thing on the block in a lot of the online spaces, because we had never really seen competitive video games televised or broadcasted and streamed and that much financial support ever. But they were selling out major arenas like Madison Square Garden or the World Cup Stadium in South Korea, the Bird's Nest in Shanghai, China, all these like Staples Center in LA, all these big venues were being filled by people wanting to watch esports. And I was really into a game called League of Legends, and I still am. When I was in high school, or like my senior year of high school, and in college. Um, and I had been playing it, and I had been following the pro league ever since then. And I had aspirations of like, oh, maybe I can go pro one day if I'm really good at this. But in order to become pro at the game, you have to put in so many hours, and you have to really do a hell of a job marketing and promoting yourself to teams so that you get signed, and you have to stream and do all that. And I wasn't really into the grinding 16 hours a day gaming. I was down for like playing, 7, 8 hours. I could do that. But 16 hours, and then on top of that, you have to like stream your gameplay. You have to like put together all this stuff about your gameplay highlights. And anyway, but I had invested so much time into gaming and into this particular game, and I've learned so much about the esport and the pro league and all the stories of the players and the narratives over the course of the years. And I was like, I have to do something with this. And I had just bought all this music equipment for recording Cheshire. And I was like, well, not really doing music anymore. I know there's commentators for this game. What if I start just like streaming commentary of it? What if I like offer to broadcast smaller tournaments and then just commentate over them? And so that's how I started. I using Discord back in its early inception days of Discord. Like this app had just come out a couple years before 2018, and I remember finding gaming communities where they had custom matches and like tournaments going on, and I would just offer to cast over it. And I sounded super good because I was one of the first people to use professional audio equipment in just amateur tournament settings. Everyone back then was like using a standard microphone off of their webcam, or they were using like a headset microphone, which just sounds very, very, very shoddy because, they're cheap. But I had bought this $400 microphone to record all of Cheshire stuff, and I could just use it to basically give myself this really professional sounding voice. And word quickly spread in a lot of those gaming communities, and I worked my way up, and I got better at the commentary thing, and I became more confident in my skills, and I was actually trying to polish my abilities. And what I do specifically is play-by-play commentary. So if you know anything about traditional sports, you know that the play-by-play commentator is the person that, let's say, football or American football, you wait for the play to start, and they call out like, for what it's worth, I don't watch a lot of American football, but I know that the call goes something like, oh my God, Brady steps back, looks for an opening, fires it off to deep left. Actually, now I'm thinking more like baseball. Line drive.
Yeah.
Line drive to shortstop, bounces, misses it. He's going to head for home plate. He's rounding 2. He's looking for 3. That's the play-by-play right there.
Yeah.
But I do that for League of Legends, and a lot of stuff is happening. So you got to call out a lot of things. But surprisingly enough, music background helps a lot with all this stuff, because broadcasting is a form of entertainment, and you need to have presence in your voice when you deliver play-by-play. You need to have a certain energy. You need to perform. You can't just say like, they're going to go in looking for the engage, knock up on the 5 people. No, you got to sell it, right? And I feel like music lends itself as a great foundation into that. And so as I got better and I started spreading my name more around, I eventually got to a point where I was being asked by Riot to commentate their tier 2 developmental league that feeds into the pro league. I got asked by Riot to cover one of their newer games called Wild Rift when it first came out in their tier 1 pro league. I got flown out to LA and commentate from their studio. I got flown out to Singapore to cover a world championship for their mobile game for about a month and a half. And then I even got asked to move to LA and be on the pro league for 2 years. And that was like the dream job and the everything culminating together. But then I moved back home last year, or at the beginning of this year, kind of like last winter. And I took this year to kind of figure out, do I still want to do esports? Do I still want to do freelance commentary and stuff like this? And just kind of figuring out what the landscape looks for me. And after all that time, thinking about it, because esports is in a different place. It does not have nearly as much of the money that it used to have back in the heyday. It does not have the same viewership as it used to have back in the heyday. And the way to like really bring viewership about is not the same. Everything is so shorts driven, whether it's TikTok, Reels, YouTube Shorts. That is where like a lot of the power really is. And also co-streaming, which to briefly break down co-streaming is when someone, a popular brand or an influencer, can just take the main broadcast feed and then just stream on top of it. So adding their own commentary, taking out the broadcast commentary and just commentating instead of it. But these co-streams are not like traditional broadcast format. They're not like the typical back and forth that you hear from a traditional broadcast style. It is more so this guy's just kind of chilling there as if you were like sitting with him on your couch, and they'll just make small comments here and there. So it's the difference between traditional broadcast commentary for League of Legends would be like, all right, we're about 30 seconds away from Ocean Dragon spawning. Check out the top lane already. Both of the top laners taking a chance to get the recalls in. First item spike should be coming online fairly soon. I imagine that this is going to be a spot where Team A will really have an advantage over the Team B, since their composition is spiking hard on this first item for the mid game. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, Raafaa. Team B is going to have to be really careful. In fact, I would not even try and go for this Ocean Dragon, blah, 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 blah. So it's, very, very polished back and forth. Co-stream is probably just going to be like, yeah, just don't do fucking Dragon here. Yeah, just go back. No, instead, guys, what they should do is just look for blah, 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 blah. So it's less formal, more casual, and they talk directly to the stream chat that is going on versus like the broadcast people involved. But that has become more popular as a format and a way to consume things. And people don't have nearly as much time or want to see and sit down like full games. So that's why shorts and recaps are kind of like driving everything right now. Or if you can put out content that makes people want to watch these games for the personalities that are involved. So that is why I took this year to figure out, okay, if I want to continue being in esports and doing this stuff, which I do, because it makes me really happy, how do I adapt in that landscape and continue going forward? Because I was still able to like get really good job opportunities as a freelance commentator this year. But I know if I really want to do more than that and just waiting for job opportunities to come my way, I need to go out and put myself out there and get those job opportunities and promote myself. And I have to take advantage of social media and understanding how to use it for me.
Yeah. You look like you need to take a deep breath.
Yeah. It was like, it's always not difficult, but it's there's definitely a lot to try and explain, like how this world works and how the ecosystem works, because if you're not in it, then there's like do I need to break down lingo and jargon? Do I need to how can I simplify this in like the most consumable way possible? And I think the best way to understand it is just it's an entertainment industry, much like other entertainment industries. There's politics in there. There's social climbing and networking involved. There are fellow talents that are just as talented as you, or maybe more talented. They'll give you advice. They'll take you under their wing. They'll really like you. They'll hope for your success as much as their own. And then there are others who will be two-faced and try to take advantage of you. So it's a complex world, but it's not that different than other industries that is involving arts or entertainment. So,
Well, I appreciate the time you took to give us the overview. It's beneficial for me because esports isn't a world I live in. Like, I'm aware it's there. I have some nephews that play some games that are pretty big, and so they know about that world, so they tell me. But really, what I know is an observer of being your friend, where it's something that you're in. So I see the posts that you share, I see where you're at, and it looks like you have a lot of fun. You've got to travel, been to some cool places like you brought up, and it's cool to see how you did music, something that you love, that you're passionate about, and how that kind of helped open the door for
mhm.
you in that aspect. And then it seems like you stepped away from music for a little bit to do that, which nothing wrong with that at all. Like, you made a career out of that. Like, it sounds like you like worked your way in and found the door and opened it and presented yourself, but then you kind of full circle came around and back and incorporated music into that. Is that
Yep.
correct?
Yep. And I think music is the next step in reinventing myself in the esports space, because when I first got in, it was just off of pure broadcasting skills that I had to polish and develop, which music was the foundation of, but it was never like the driving force. But over time, when I had to get noticed by more people and figure out how to distinguish myself, I would lean on music and be like, oh, well, I've composed music before. I can like compose music for the show, or I can create tracks that help like underscore a segment, or I can make a parody song of this that might be like super funny, or just like write an intro for the start of the broadcast. And I would do that for some of the amateur stuff that I did. And it was not, polished, but it was like funny just to have music like that. And then when I got into the pro leagues, I was a bit more nervous about presenting my ideas there, but I would always do them. Some of them really worked and others not so much, but it was a good learning experience. And it was a way for me to just put myself out there in front of thousands of viewers. And I remember playing a song live, but it was a very soft song. It was a very sentimental song. And I think for the people that appreciated the sentimental approach, they loved it. But this was mostly a gamer audience. And that was the first time I experienced a bunch of like, what the fuck is this guy doing on my broadcast viewership? And the comments in Reddit blasted me. That was not a good feeling. But I realized that it wasn't because the song was bad or anything. It's just that's not what they wanted.
Yeah.
That they weren't down for like something super sentimental and very, touchy with emotions. And so then I went to the creative director, who didn't like have a say in what we were doing for the broadcast, but I just showed him that, and he's like, "So is this song supposed to be like funny or something?" I'm like, "No, it was supposed to be sincere and heartfelt." It's like, "Oh, well, you gotta understand that gamers are like, especially if they're coming in to watch an esports broadcast, they're not coming here for that. They want entertainment." So either your shit's got to be like super high energy or it's got to be funny. And it wasn't either of those. I was like, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
So, and that was like a really, really good eye opening thing. Is like, okay, you can write good stuff, but it's got to be for the right audience, and you have to understand what your audience wants. And upon knowing that, I was able to do more things that was more suitable for that. So, but tying this back to modern era, now going into 2026, one of the big ambitions and plans I have is to write more parody songs that are high energy. Pop punk as a foundation has always been a great place to write from for that. And then just make them really, really funny and raucous. And I mean, the first parody song I did that was kind of like a test of how well this would go was a parody of "What's My Age Again" by Blink-182, but the song is called "What's My Rank Again," and the whole premise of the song was someone who has not played League of Legends in like years gets on League of Legends again just to play it. And this was someone that was super, super good at the game, like ranked first top 1% of the player base back in like 2013, 2014, 2015. But then he's playing it in 2025. And he's like, what the hell's going on? The game has changed so much. And as he's playing the game, he's dying everywhere. He's like having a bad time. His death score is like super, super high. People in the game on his team are like flaming him and being like, dude, you are so stupid. You are like a lot of bad words. And it just saying like, you are so bad. Like, why are you playing like this? Like, get out of my game if you're going to be making me lose like this. And that's just the whole premise, is that the narrator, the singer, is trying to figure out, well, what's my rank again? Like, how good am I actually at this game? You know, but it's just the game is aged on without him, and all the things that he used to do are no longer that good of a strategy in the game anymore.
And then there's another song that's big in the gaming community called "The Glory of a New Era," correct?
The Glory. So for LCS, which is the pro league I used to commentate for, their theme song that would open the show was called "The Glory." And I wanted to reimagine it in a rock version, because "The Glory" is more of like this traditional kind of ESPN style brass focused track. You know, when you think of like the NFL theme, that's kind of like similar to the sound that "The Glory" is. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. And I just wanted to reimagine it as if it was like with rock instruments. So more guitars, harder drums, but still kept the brass in there and my own flair. And so we got to play that for a couple weeks we played that for this segment in LCS when they were doing like a cage match, and they just wanted a little bit more grit and edge. And my producer's like, wow, this is super fucking sick that you put this together. I was like, let's go.
You did that. That was you.
Yeah.
Good job, dude.
Thank you.
Is there any more about esports, gaming, all that you want to share with us?
Hopefully, just for those that do listen to this podcast and also are in the world of esports, keep your eyes out, because I have big ambitions to try and drop bangers next year, and just then to be super catchy, super funny, and super out there in terms of lyrics. I think one of the things that like Blink-182 we can always thank is just how ridiculous their lyrics were, especially in the earlier days, you know.
Are you trying to get to me to talk about Blink's early lyrics? Like depends.
I want to fuck a dog in the ass.
You didn't tell me you were going to pass the mic back to me for that. I didn't know. Sorry,
no,
I told you.
No, you're good. You're good. I mean, even like Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, that album has some funny lyrics. I mean, like First Date. Is it cool if I hold your hand? Is it wrong if I think it's late in the day? Like, they're like sincere, but just kind of funny, you know, in a way. It's like, oh, wow, this is what he's really singing right now. So,
do you have a favorite Blink lyric?
I want to fucking talk. Well, I have like a funny favorite Blink lyric, which is from What's My Age Again? The later on the drive home, I called your mom from a payphone. I said I was the cops. Your husband's in jail. The state looks down on sodomy. Like, and that's about the time that bitch hung up on me. just dropping. Yeah, your husband's in jail. State looks down on sodomy.
And that's how my 10 or 11-year-old self learned what sodomy was, because I was running around singing that. And they're like, you know what that means? And I'm like, oh, it's just a song. It's good. But I only found the dog.
Yep. We go back to I fucked the dog in the ass.
That's what I want to put your intro for the episode. Just that song, just that line. That's it. Just over and over and over again.
Oh my god. But I think my favorite all-time Blink lyric is just from One More Time, where Marc says it shouldn't take a sickness or it shouldn't take a sickness or does he say a plane crash? Yeah, I mean that whole song just gets into my strangers, from strangers into brothers, from brothers into strangers once again. Like that is the whole like Blink-182 drama summarized, where they first don't know each other, then they become best friends, but then they become disillusioned and they break apart during the whole. I mean, hell, if he wanted to expand upon it, it could have been like strangers into brothers, brothers into strangers, strangers into brothers, into strangers once again, because they first broke apart for the Angels Airwaves and Plus 44 era. They get back together for Neighborhoods, then they split up again, and then after they finally get back. So, or do I have to die to hear you miss me? Oh my god, just like
that's a good one.
Yeah, like you go down that entire song and it's just like punch after punch after punch, not like trying to make you feel bad, but it is a very like honest and sad song, but it's good for reconciliation.
You need to add that one to the emo lyric line. Do I have to die to hear you miss me? That's
you're absolutely right. Do I have to die to hear you miss me? Oh my god. Yep, that takes it. That's number one emo lyric. Do I have to die to hear you miss me?
Well, last time we talked, I let you choose, in a way, which definition you're going to give of emo or punk. Mm-hmm. But this episode, we can't end it until you say it. So, what's your definition of punk?
When you are purposefully bucking the trend, when you are purposely going against what is the expected in society, the traditional route, the conservative route, the what is currently in place. So whether that's anti-politics, anti-fashion trends, anti-music trends, lifestyle, all that is punk. And you're doing it because you know that it embraces who you are, and you don't care what other people think.
Yeah. Well said, my friend.
Thank you.
You came prepared with that. I can tell.
Woo.
So, I have one more story that I would like to talk about
Okay.
before we wrap this one up. But I want to open the door to you. Is there anything else that you would like to talk about today, this time around?
Mm. What is your favorite memory of us with Cheshire? Or it doesn't have to be Cheshire. It can just be any of the times we hung out.
Well, that was kind of my story that I was going to say.
Oh, hell
So
yeah.
I won't say that one. I'll say I'm bring it up again. Getting you to order a hamburger at J Dog's was one of my favorite things ever. Every time I go to J Dog's, I remember that, and it's just fun. How trusting you were of me, and how I always just disappointed you, but we're still friends. I do appreciate that when it came to music, that you were open to changing things, like how you had a song in your mind that you're open to my advice, and so playing music with you is always really fun. Um, and I just really appreciate your guys' home, that you guys opened it up to us, and that it was like a place that I could feel comfortable and play music, contribute what I could do, share my thoughts, and it wasn't just with you, it was with your dad, your grandpa, like all good men, people that I respect, and I appreciate the criticism and feedback that you guys gave me, the constructive criticism, that is. So those are some of my favorite times, just like hanging out with you as a friend, but as a musician, hanging out in the basement, dude, and at the house. It's good times. But before we get too sappy, I'm gonna ruin it with my actual story. But did you have a
Nice.
favorite you wanted to add?
I have two, but I'm gonna save one just in case
It's the same.
it's the same.
I like it. I like it.
I mean, I think I mentioned it briefly in part one, but just that concert with Wicked Bears and Carry On Kid at the some dude's garage.
Yeah, what
Um,
a fun show.
that was the day when like we had played enough with Tyler, so he felt good in his element. We were synced up, and it was a time where I was just like, wow, like I feel on everything was like something we say in the gaming space. You enter the flow state where everything in that moment is a blur. Things are happening. You're doing things, but you're not like fully conscious of it. It's just happening. And your
Yeah.
body and your instincts are taking over. And that concert was the only concert where I felt like I was in the flow state. Every other concert, I was like actively thinking about something or just to make sure that I wasn't messing up. But that concert, I had no fear. I like
Nice. That's awesome.
no, felt like it was the best we ever played.
And overall, just a fun show to be part of.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Good. Great. Wonderful. 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 So my story, which you tell me if it's your same story, but there's video evidence of my story. Is there video evidence of your story?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So do you wanna tell it, or do you want me to?
No, you tell.
Well, I like teasing people. I like joking around with people. I like scaring people. And if you can't handle those things, don't hang around me, because if you give me the opportunity, I'll embarrass you in public. If you give me the opportunity, I will scare you.
Yeah.
As tears come to his face. So Tyler and I came up with a plan to scare Mark. We would leave. Well, we would enter and leave through Mark's garage. Uh, so we go out the door into the garage. He'd open up the garage door. We'd leave that way. And so going down the hallway to the garage are some cabinets where you can put jackets and shoes and stuff in. And so I realized one day I can fit in there. And so I did. I went and hid in there. And so Mark went to open the garage door. I just jumped out and yelled your name, and he fell to the floor. I guess there is a video of this, of my perspective, because I had my phone recording and Tyler had his phone recording. So we got a couple angles.
Yep.
And you're a good sport.
Oh. I I don't even remember if I was looking for you or if Tyler like said, "Hey, do you know where Blair went?" Like I don't know if he prompted it or anything, but he was behind me and the back of my peripheral vision, I saw that he pulled his phone out, but I'm still just like unaware, completely oblivious. Yep. Cue Jaws theme. I'm walking down the hallway and I'm just like, is Blair out here? And then I just hear Mark! And I'm like, I don't know where it's coming from. I see the cabinet doors rip open to my right, and I just collapse. And I'm like, ah! And I just fall. And as soon as I realized that it was a prank, I'm just dying of laughter in fetus position on the floor. I can't get up. I'm just KO'd at that point. I'm just like dying of laughter, and oh, it was a mean prank, but it was a great prank. It got me. Yeah.
Appreciate you putting up with me.
You know, I think if we didn't have stuff like that, then the chemistry wouldn't have been as real. So, but
and the love wouldn't be as strong. You're a good man. I love you, dude.
I love you too, Blair.
And before I wrap it up, anything else you want to add?
Shout out to Sam's in the world. My Instagram DMs. Yeah. Not gonna get your hopes up or anything, but yeah. I have a track record apparently. But also, music is freaking awesome, guys. Music brings people together. It is one of the core things of a human experience that you get to live out. And I know that there are people in this world that actually just don't like music. They don't listen to music. And I just cannot imagine ever living in that world. So if you're listening to this and you love music, just know that you are part of a select group of people that enjoys one of the best things about living life. So go us. Yeah.
Well said, friend. And thank you for taking the time to do these episodes with me. We look forward to this year, what you put out. I'm excited for you, and I'm really excited to hear what the results are. Good luck and take care of yourself.
Thank you, Blair.